Welcome to the Michigan BMX Podcast Show, live from the Kebco BMX Studios in the busy metropolis of Heartland, Michigan. This is Friday Night Live, and we are excited you're joining us. I'm your host, Justin Tompkins, longtime BMXer and lover of all things BMX, along with our absent co-host, who's probably hunkered down over there, hanging out at his sprawling estates in Clarkston. But I heard he was headed down to Zanesville, Ohio, to catch those wild tigers and bears, that second-gen crazy wild tigers and bears running around there. We also got our friend Paul Remington hanging out over in the Bertucky remote Heavy Pedals studio. Paul, how are you doing this evening?
Doing good tonight, brother. Doing good tonight.
It's good to hear your voice, my friend. And hanging out this evening, we also have Jason taking care of all of our video stuff this evening. And our IT guy over on the west side of the state, Mr. Charlie Salisbury. He's over there at the West Michigan BMX headquarters. Sitting next to me, we have the exquisite and one hot smoking BMX mama.
Jesus.
We have Melissa. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
You are looking ravishing in that pink polo this evening.
Great.
Who made that?
The T-bone.
Yes.
Loving my new shirt.
We've got another amazing show for you this Friday night. Joining us this Friday night, we have none other than Moses Tillmon. Moses, say hi. That's Paul.
Hey, how we doing out there? Thanks for joining us tonight.
Good. Hey, man. Thanks for coming on.
Welcome.
We are going to be talking about the man behind the mighty Mo's BMX Cruises. Mo's going to be joining us on the Holly Power Sports video line this evening. We want to say thanks for our friends at Truth BMX for bringing us our show opener. Now for you guys just joining us, time to grab a refreshing beverage of your choice, grab some snacks. It is time for Friday Night Live. Melissa, you want to let them know where they can find and listen and see us this evening?
Someday I'm going to remember that you like to do this to me. I don't remember any of this shit. We are on Facebook, brought to you by Heavy Pedals. You can find us on YouTube, brought to you by T-Bone. Twitch, brought to you by RSVP. And also on Twitter, brought to you by Holly Power Sports.
And you can listen to the audio side of this show, following it in its entirety, and that's available at Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcast, also, and we're still constantly getting added to more and more outlets, and we really want to thank the good people over at Gate 9 Custom Number Plates for taking care of our audio podcast side. And as always, if there's something you guys would like to hear or talk trash or tell me that I got a terrible haircut or a bad hat or whatever it is, make sure you guys get that sent over to us at the Michigan BMX Podcast Show at gmail.com email address. We always love hearing from you guys. And those of you filing in the chat room, welcome in for a fun evening with Mo Tillmon, big-time pro racer back in the day. Now we're doing a BMX cruise thing, and we're going to find out a lot about that here in a few seconds. But first, we're going to listen to our friends over at Magic BMX.
Hey, Metro Detroit, it's time to experience the coolest store you've never been to. Magic Motorsports in Waterford. Discover over 40,000 square feet of savings. From motorcycle parts, accessories, and service to hoodies, coats, jackets, and sunglasses from Oakley and Spy, and so much more. Looking for that perfect gift? You'll find it here. Get big discounts on everything every day. We also carry the area's largest selection of BMX bikes and accessories. And we change motorcycle tires while you wait. Magic Motorsports on Dixie Highway just west of Telegraph in Waterford.
All right, and we are back. It is Friday Night Live. You were saying he's got
a fan club already coming in on our chat. I got
coming in heavy.
Agent 09 on
Nick
here.
Man.
Scott Holwerda, Phil, and I know you said the last name. Boudreaux. Brian Wilson, Ron Walker. Everybody's coming in.
Oh, well, welcome into the chat, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us on this fine Friday evening, at least in the Mitten. Not sure what it was like. What's it like in your area this evening, Mo?
Actually, it's in the upper 60s and sunny. We had a couple days of rain, but it's moved out of the area, and now we're looking for a good weekend.
Well,
fantastic. Well, so as we always like to ask our guests, right from the get-go. First, we'd like to tell you thank you for joining us this evening. But we want to know, Mo, what is your BMX story? You know, how did you get into it? What was the years you got into it? You know, which friend, which parent? You know, how many times did you have detention that you skipped to go race or ride your bike? You know, let us know how BMX came and found you. You know, and as you go through that, you know, we've got our pictures queued up with you here. So, you know, hey man, let's hear your story, my friend.
All right. Well, growing up, I was always one of the types of kid that always set up wooden jumps in front of the house and you know, jump and everything. I always wanted to race. And one day I found some trails and rode back in the trails, and it was a rider that actually competed at the time. Rich Reitmeyer's his name. And he kind of took me under his wing because he saw that I was really trying to get over these sets of doubles. So I made it over, and after that, you know, he and I were pretty much, you know, friends for life, so to speak. And he was going to a race the next week, and I told him that I wanted to go. I talked to my mom, and she ended up taking me down to a track in Illinois, Rippin In BMX. And it was July 24th, 1984, and that was the beginning of a 26-year career.
What was the track again?
Rippin In BMX down near Kankakee,
okay.
Illinois. It was run by Missy Fred, who used to race for Hutch and Mongoose back in the early 80s.
Oh, wow. Now, Illinois, pretty much home base for you?
It is. I was born and raised just outside Chicago, so yeah, I'm pretty much a Chicago native, so to speak.
Did you ever come across Nick Dasani?
Who hasn't? When I met him, he was Sundance Nick, and then he moved out west and became Skyway Nick, and then 09 Nick, and whatever other company Nick he's a part of. But a great guy, definite, good cat, good character.
Very nice. And you had so you got into the sport. When did the bug bite you? Like, when did you know this was going to be your time, or your sport, and this was going to be your thing, man?
Actually, before I started, after I saw E.T. and the BMX episode on Chips and McDonald's BMX commercials on Saturday, I knew that was something that I wanted to do. I just never really had the means, you know, to get to the courses until I met my buddy Rich. And then after that, you know, my eyes were open to an amazing sport.
Very nice. What was what would have been your first big moment that you remember? You know, not a sponsorship, but like that first moment when you were really raw, first into the sport. What was that big thing that you remember? You know, before the sponsors, endorsements, and all that stuff. Like, what was that moment? You know, probably back when you were still a rookie, novice. What would that have been for you?
See, probably my biggest race was when I made my first main at a national, 1987. Maple State Nationals in Shakopee, Minnesota. Then I knew that I was kind of coming into my own, so to speak. But it was still 4 years away before I won my first national.
And what year? Your first main you made? What year was that?
That was in 1987.
87.
Minnesota.
All right, so you've been in just a minute, then you made your first main here, and that brought you in. You got anything for the out of the chat here? We got somebody asking what your... Yeah, what's that?
Oh, I was just kind of curious what Mo's favorite track was.
Wow, my favorite track would have to be the 92 ABA Grands.
Is that the one you sent me the video over of?
It is, yes.
Yeah, so click, go down one right there. Yep, it's like, it says Grands right on the beginning. Yep, right there. Next one down. Yep. If you open, nope. Yep. You got to click it over to the other screen though.
And where is that? Where is this at again?
That is in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
They're introducing.
Right there was what they call the East-West shootout. Back then, they only had two Gold Cup series, an East Coast and a West Coast. And the first and second place finishers from the 15 experts up to 19 and over at the time all met Friday night before the Grands for a championship race.
We're going to watch this one here. It's got the sound going out to everyone listening here.
Wow. Get interviewed and all hyped up like that.
You got a shirt section too. Good luck. Good luck tonight, man. Lane number 5. Is this the biggest race of your life?
Yeah, would you call this the biggest race of your life?
Well, outside of the World Championships,
Oh, wow.
World Championship, but in America, as far as my career, that was tops. Right there.
Okay.
Who's in this with you right now? Who's on the gate with you?
You had Jerry Batter from ST Racing. You had Scotty Yokolet company. You also have Anthony Freeman to my right.
I am fully in love with the purple.
We're gonna back the volume down and let you tell us. You're gonna walk us through this race right here.
All right. Well, I had gate 8. And I was running a pretty tough gear, but the track allows you to really get the gear going. So I got the pop and started moving over, so I'd have the first turn. There was a couple of ball ups behind me. And after that, I just kind of kicked in the afterburners, and after that it was the race, or the race was over, so to speak. Actually, I thought they were right on me, so I didn't let off the gas at all.
There was no stopping. Yeah. Wow.
This is yeah. Was it long? Was it a long track?
It seems long.
Hey, what happened right there now? I see the foot came off. What happened? Did we loot? Uh-oh. Oh, no. We did. Uh-oh. All right, jump back there. Yep.
I seal the deal.
There he is. Okay, he's back. What what happened with the foot off? With the foot sliding off?
Just kind of bobbled a little bit.
Did you?
I guess you can't always race a perfect race, so.
That's look. If that's the only, like, that's a pretty perfect race right there, man. That's
Yeah.
else.
I was really heavy that weekend. The thing is that Friday night in the finals, I crashed and cracked a couple ribs, so it was questionable if I was going to be able to race the race, and I still, kind of sucked it up. Had some tough races through the semis, but made all 3 mains and was the first rider to ever triple. I won 21, 25 cruiser, 19 and over open, and 19 and over expert that had over 120 riders in it.
What?
How many? Okay.
Oh my gosh.
19 and over expert.
19 and over expert.
Yeah, no, sorry.
Yeah.
You're checking out.
And
Cap.
if I would have got one more win that year, I'd have been 1992 amateur overall champion.
I was just gonna.
Wow.
I was gonna ask if you
Finished
were
amateur 5.
Okay, so you got a AM5. Hey, so how many rounds did you? Okay, in 19 over expert, so there's 100 and what?
It was over 120 riders.
How many rounds did you race?
We raced a lot. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we had 16.
Jeez, so you had to race. What was it? You done 2 or 3 motos, then went to qualifying rounds.
We had to race exactly. Then the 16th, then the 8th, then the quarters, then the semis, and then the main. And I was racing all 3 classes too.
Right.
What?
I thought I had
Oh my gosh.
something to brag about doing 2
No,
bikes, man.
no,
That's
no.
not at
Yeah,
all.
Nick says that he raced you a lot in the open class back in the day, but that you smoked him every time.
Hey, he's a good competitor, so.
Well, he kept you on your toes, I'm sure.
Don't pay me attention. He was there.
Man, that's impressive. So what's going on in this picture right here? You got your all your plaques and number plates up there. There it'd be in your probably lower left or lower right.
Yeah, that's on my state, my district, gold cups, my rock plates, my ABA A Pro World Cup #1 plate, and then to the right is my national age group #1, and then my amateur overall #5 and then #6 for cruiser, along with the plaques that we got handed out to us.
So which one's your favorite?
Oh, of course, the the NAG 1 and the Amateur 5.
Nice.
How could it not be?
What was
You know, I go in the room sometime and I'm just amazed that I was number 5 out of thousands of riders in the
Right.
entire country, number 1 for my age.
Yeah, that's a big account. Because that's for those of you that are watching that don't know, that is all male amateur racers. You know, to take a top even 50 and something like that's very, very impressive in our sport. Let alone a top 5. You know, that's every male competitor that's out there riding. You know, young, old, it don't matter. That's not an easy thing to do right there.
Are you still riding today, Mo?
No, I retired about, wow, it's been 10 years now.
We don't have to say that.
The job I have, I just work so much. I work for a commuter railroad in Chicago. I'm just kind of working and didn't really have the time to train to be as competitive as I'd wanted to be.
Sure.
So I just kind of, you know, packed up the career and, you know, just have all the memories now and, of course, the videos to remember me by.
You have anybody following in your footsteps? Any kids or?
Well, I don't have any kids myself, but there's a number of riders that I got started when I was younger that are still racing right now, so it's kind of cool.
Right. Because you're a coach, right? Or you were a coach as part of your career?
Well, actually, from 93 until 97, I was one of the coaches up in Marquette, Michigan at Camp ABA. Here's a couple of the plaques from there.
Shout out to Marquette,
Nice.
Camp ABA.
Yeah. Paul Churchville and John Churchville. It was a great time. It was a lot of fun kind of giving back to the sport, teaching the kids a little bit of what I learned, and hopefully they would have some of the accomplishments that I was so blessed, you know, to have.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Did you ever end up crossing paths with Brian Colgrove?
Oh, me? Oh, yeah. We never raced, but I mean, we're you know, years apart from each other in age, but
Okay.
we know each other pretty well from being at the same, you know, events together over the years.
I noticed your not the next picture that's going to be up, but one of your pictures earlier on. You had a 2B home cook hat, and I know.
Oh yeah.
He rode for him. But was it Phil was asking about the?
Yeah.
What was he asking about?
The kid and play hair?
What is going on there?
Well, Kid and Play, they were my favorite from the movie House Party back in the late 90s. And every month, Gork would have a Blood Brothers picture and a BMXer, and it would be a racer, and then an actor or artist who he looked similar to. And I guess October 91, I think, or 90, I got to be Kid.
I can see the resemblance. That's great.
But what I'd give to be able to grow my hair like that now.
That's too funny. Joe Stevens is on YouTube watching right now and said it's good to see you, old racing mate, hanging out over there.
How you doing, Joe? We had some good battles back in the mid '80s up in Elkhorn, Wisconsin. He ruled that track. I don't think I beat him once the entire '95, '96 season up there. So how you doing? How you doing, Joe? Thanks for stopping by.
Sounds like some good memories. Mr. Ron Walker is curious as to who your favorite pro is. I don't know if that's present or past. Maybe both.
Let me see. My all-time favorite pro had to be Pistol Pete Lonkiewicz.
Good call. Good call.
How you doing, Ron?
Very nice.
Is that a current pro or is that an old? Since I'm
No, he's
kinda
Let's see,
new
the
to the-
current pro. Let's see, Mara Stromberg doesn't race anymore, so I'd have to go with Connor Fields,
Connor?
the Olympic champ.
I know that name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I recognize somebody. Yay.
So that's your racer. All-around guy. Like all-around rider. Who would you pick? All-time, all-around
Wow.
rider.
Oh, jeez.
All-time smoothest, skills, everything.
Yeah.
Probably
Nick's going,
Kyle
pick me, pick me,
number
pick me.
88. R.I.P.
Who's that? Kyle Bennett. Yeah. I wonder if I figured it'd either be Bennett or it'd be Foster. One or the other there.
Oh, Foster's right up there too.
Yeah. But, Kyle, if you were a racer, that's the one thing is that, man, that guy, he wasn't just he you can tell him he was bad on the track, but man, could that dude rip at some trails. Just anything you put in front of him, he could ride.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, so you guys hanging out in the chat room, make sure you're getting in there. Bring your questions in for Mo. We're going to jump to a quick commercial, and we're going to come right back. We're going to listen to our friends from RSVP, and we will be right back after we listen to them. Get your questions in there. Let's stack them up for Mo. And now we're going to listen to our friends from RSVP.
RSVP Wedding and Event Design.
RSVP
Wedding
Anything
and
you
Event
can imagine
Design.
under the sun.
Anything you can imagine under the sun for your wedding, corporate event, parties, or even private events. Winner of the prestigious Best of Weddings by the Knot. Family owned and operated by some really cool BMXers. Call them now, 248-301-5522. And tell them that the Michigan BMX Podcast Show sent you.
All right, and we are back, and we're hanging out here with Moses Tillmon, telling us his stories coming up, his favorite riders, and we've got some pictures here up there on the screen right now. Why don't you tell us what's going on here, man? When what year this was and what you were doing then?
That had to have been at an East Coast National. I'm thinking somewhere in Pennsylvania back in, I want to say 2000 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds about right. I was riding for Bulldog Bicycles, Jimmy Mack out of New York.
God, I always wanted one of their bikes.
Oh, they rode really well. I rode for them from 99 until 2002. That's when I got off of them and got back on Factory Supercross BMX and finished out my career essentially on Supercross.
Okay. I think that's, I think we got a couple shots from that. Let me double check. We got them loaded up.
Do you have a favorite bike, Mo?
Probably my favorite bike has to be my Hawk F20 that I rode in 92. But I had so much success on that bicycle.
Do you still have it?
Actually, I wish I didn't. Or I wish I did. There was so much money.
Just curious.
But back then, I was a broke 22, 23-year-old. So
fair.
Quick, I would get a new frame. I would sell the old one.
I live amongst some collectors or collecting want-to-bees, and so I'm always curious as to what's the oldest bike or memorabilia you've got hanging around.
Yeah, that's actually a Hawk in the logo right there.
Yeah.
Hey, so what was the story with them? So I got into racing in very, very late 90s, and I remember seeing them, this would be like at Richfield, Waterford Oaks. There was a few guys that had them. They had the square tubing, right?
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, what was their story? What was the story with the company?
Well, the owner, Jim, oh gosh, I can't remember his last name. But anyway, he worked for an aerospace company, and he took the idea behind the square tubing and thought it was superior to the regular, cylindrical tubing, and put it together. He had a pretty good bunch of riders. The bicycle was tested by Pistol Pete Lankiewicz and Brian Lopes.
Those are big names.
I saw both those guys on it and asked actually if I could ride the bike around the pit area, and I fell in love with it. So then I proceeded to talk to the owner or the team manager, Bill Paxton, about riding for them in 92, and they agreed and put me on it, and I won my first national in Nebraska about a week after I put the bike together, and it worked out good for me for the whole season.
And they say that again.
I said at the time, even now there was never a bike like that on the market, and they ended up winning Bike of the Year in 92 also. So they sold a lot of bikes in the early mid 90s, and they just kind of faded out.
What do you think your biggest BMX moment is? I know we kind of touched on this a little bit, but
my biggest BMX moment?
Yeah.
Well, probably my three biggest was, of course, when I tripled at the Grands, and then the next race I won my first single A pro race in Reno against the likes of Danny Nelson, Dale Holmes, Matt Hayden, Billy Jason Richardson, and that's it. And then probably when I won the AVA World Cup title in '98 at Rockford in Single A Pro, I'd have to say those were some of my 3, and also making my main at the World Championships in Holland in 04.
Oh, you got to go over to Holland, huh?
Yeah. It was
Very
a good
nice.
time.
That kind of leads into one of my other questions. Where have you traveled around the world? Where's BMX taken you?
Wow, it's taken me to Australia, Brazil, Canada, China, England, France twice, and Holland.
Wow, that's amazing.
So yeah, before I started competing, I'd only been to Indiana and Wisconsin. So it was a lot of fun to get out and see the world. It was something I love to do.
Say BMX probably was what got him traveling around.
Yeah. You say BMX was kind of your travel companion, huh? Got you out and about in the world.
Oh, definitely.
Well, I don't know if your wife is trying to tell us that there's a story or not here, but she's calling out whether or not you've broken any bones during your BMX career.
Wow.
Maybe the list is long.
I cracked my ribs at the 92 grands. I broke my arm at the 96 grands. I broke my arm. 87 grands. I broke my collarbone. Cracked my kneecap. Countless concussions. Probably gonna have Alzheimer's or something when I get older. Or just
We all are.
But yeah, I've had some pretty bad injuries. But the way I see it is, if I raced for 26 years without any kind of injuries, I must suck pretty bad. I must be in back going slow instead of trying to fight for a win up front.
Right, you weren't leaving it out on the track if you're not doing that.
Right.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Wow. Any major injuries keep you away for any great length of time?
Well, back in '94, I was actually doing really good in AA, and I was at a big national down in Springfield, Illinois. And then the mains, I was in second place coming out of the first turn behind Wade Boots, a rider that was from Australia.
Okay.
I was battling with Barry McManus from Fort Wayne, and there was a reverse step down and then a roller into a left-hand turn. Well, Barry and myself tangled over the reverse step, and I got thrown over the handlebars so quick into the roller into the second turn, I didn't have time to get my hands out. So I remember is going into the first turn in second place, and then waking up in bed Friday morning at home.
Oh,
Wow.
My life.
Hey, our video guy had a question for you. He wanted to know, have you ever clipped in?
Ooh.
I did, yes. I fought it tooth and nail, but I finally clipped in, I want to say, in
Good question.
at the end of 03, 04. I was sponsored by Shimano, thanks to Chad Roberts. Hey, Chad, if you're out there, thanks for the love. And I was flats, and he kept on asking me if I'd clip in, and I was against it. He's like, you know what? Let me send you some clip pedals and clip shoes. Try them, and if you don't like them, go back to your regular platform DXs. And I put them on, and I raced with them from 03 until I retired in 09.
So you've mentioned a couple of different sponsors. Got any favorites? Any other shout-outs you want to give out? Past or
Everett
present?
Roach Brands at Vans was my shoe sponsor, actually, from 91 until 2003. And then Chad, had enough faith in me to, represent Shimano from 98 until, I want to say maybe 2007.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been fortunate to have some decent sponsors, and I'm just glad that they thought that I brought something to the table as far as advertising that would warrant them letting me run their product on my bike.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I know a lot of kids out there these days, everybody wants their handout. Everybody wants a free bike or free wheels or free
we
grips or
definitely
free
hear
whatever.
that story.
And what these kids don't realize is, if this company gives you a product to run, they're basically investing in you. They assume that what you bring them back in return is going to pay off by them giving you their product. And a lot of kids these days, they don't see that. They just want free stuff. They don't understand that it's kind of a give and take. And I think more kids need to kind of realize that when it comes to sponsorship.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think that's a good point.
So would you say you're on the side that you think bro deals killing BMX?
That's a tough one because if I need a new bike, I'd like to get a decent deal. But
Who wouldn't?
you know, if it comes down to keeping your company alive, or you know, giving all your buddies breaks on all the product, you're going to go under, because you don't go into business with the idea of just giving free stuff away and closing down. You go into business to make money and hopefully get your name out there. You know, but sadly, there's a lot of companies that, you know, don't like to say no. They like seeing their product out there on track because it's getting more publicity. But if that in turn is causing that company to go out of business because they're not turning a profit, then it really doesn't benefit the company to do that. You know, it benefits the kids because they don't care if the company goes under. They got a free bike or a deal.
Yeah, Mr. Chris Luna wanted to mention you guys were teammates.
Yes, we were.
Well,
I was teammates. What's going on, Chris Luna, and also Chris Allen's lovely wife, Casey, on Louis Axel.
And interesting segue we're going to take for a plug. Chris is going to be on next Friday. Sitting where you,
Mr.
probably
Chris Allen.
Chris Allen is. Sorry. Yeah, Chris Allen's going to be setting up. We have a lot of Chris's.
Well, right. So we were also talking about Luna, so I wanted to make sure that you clarified.
Luna was on a couple weeks ago. Right. Allen will be on next week, and then we have Chris, our co-host. Chris Allen's going to be on next week, and it's funny how small you had pointed out before. How small the sport is, right? Like how we all know each other. Because
it is funny. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead. You tell it better. You can tell it better than I can.
You know, it was funny because Ryan Wilson from Tillmon BMX. I had spoken with him maybe Wednesday last week about sponsoring my dodgeball tournament on my cruise, which we'll get into later. And then next thing you know, he is on your program. So I figured for that was perfect. And then you and I were talking about Michigan BMX, and I brought up Marquette, and you talked about the long history of Marquette BMX and how they had BMX camp back in the 90s. And as it turns out, I was a coach up there for 4 years. And then you talked about Chris Allen was going to be on your show, you know, later on in the month. Well, it's going to be next week now. And then funny thing that Casey, Chris's wife, and I were teammates back in the 90s on Louis Axel. So it's crazy how everything kind of all
6 degrees of BMX separation.
Yeah. Now, explain Louis Axel, because when I came in, it was kind of I remember hearing about him, reading, like that was big. Like that was a big thing, big name, what was kind of walk us through what Louis Axel was, what they were about, and who they were, and all that fun stuff.
Well, the owner of the company, Dick Allen, he owned a machine shop down in Texas, and I can't remember where the Louis part came from, but they made axles, they made drop-off protectors. What else did they make? Gosh, it was so long ago. But the product that they made, a lot of people in the industry were running their axles, their chain tensioners, and so on and so forth. You know, they had a good product. They were around from early 90s through maybe 95, 96 out of Texas.
Yeah, that would have been. Yeah, that would have been when I was getting involved in it, and I can remember. God, I think there's even like some banners out at Richfield Park and stuff like that were around. So they were big. We're gonna jump over here. We're gonna show one of the videos over on the here that we got, and we're gonna go to your. What do you want to do? The Worlds one, or you want to do the second? The Grands one is really cool. The second Grands one, because isn't that the double? Yeah. So that second Grands one is actually like a twofer, right there. So yeah, we'll pull this one up here, the one right underneath that one. Yeah, that one there, and then we'll refresh this guy, and you guys will take a check this out here.
It's the 19 and over main, over 120 riders in the class.
So this is the one you were talking about earlier.
Yes, sir. That completed my first ever Grants triple.
So we'll back the volume down, and you can walk us through this. Yeah, here we're gonna take this
Okay,
down.
the guy in second place rode for GT Euro. He's out of Germany, Frank Bricks. He was the European champion at the time. And he was flying all weekend, and I just happened to, have a better lap that day than he did.
God, that is a long track. Look at this guy right here. Hang on. And your power montage.
That's right there. I was on MTV Sports as a result of winning the Grants.
Kind of looked like Will Smith there for a second.
And then right here is my first A Pro race in Reno, Nevada.
Listen to the color commentator guy. Turn that up with the volume right here. Yeah.
He's got to be beaten by 3 or 4 places not to get the win, but he wants to show these guys who the rookie pro of 1993 is.
You have Dale Holmes, Billy Ott, and Danny Nelson, and second, third, fourth.
Trying to find a way, but Moses Tillmon brings it back. It used to be Reno. Tonight it's Motown.
It's Motown. Oh, we needed to change the title of the show to that, Mo. I didn't think of that. It's Motown. Let's look at. Hey, we're gonna take a look at your Worlds video here. Let's check this guy out here. Yup, this guy. There he comes.
We go Rocker 98, single A. Before they paid Burnzilla, we had real dirt on the track.
Yeah,
on the tires.
Yeah, that's. I just thought about that watching it now. When we watched it earlier, it didn't click with me.
Yeah. My first race there was in '85, and actually, the double pointer there in '85 is what turned me expert from intermediate. So I have a long history at that track.
Is this the award ceremony for this?
It is, yes.
Who's filming this?
Who's filming it? Either my mom or one of my buddies.
Okay. Motown.
Hey, Mo, Joe wanted me to ask you what the story behind your nickname Mighty Mo is.
Wow. Well, back in the early mid-'80s, I was just trying to find, a cool nickname, and I couldn't think in between Holy Moses, or they used to have these little toy trucks back when I was younger called Tidy Mighty Mo's. And a buddy was like, well, why don't you just call yourself Mighty Mo? And he'd started calling me that before I just said, okay, that sounds cool. And the more he said it, the cooler it sounded. Like, you know what, that'd be a pretty neat nickname to have. So that's kind of the backstory on the whole Mighty Mo name.
All right.
So yeah, a trivia question answer.
Yeah.
And it's been Mighty Mo since the Summer Nationals in Elkhart, Indiana in '85 until actually guys call me that at work right now still.
Oops. Technical difficulties over here. They're on the struggle bus today here on Friday. So Phil said that you were actually his coach up in Marquette at the Marquette ABA camp.
I was, yeah. I had been trying to get one of the coaching jobs up there for 2 or 3 years because I just heard so many cool things about the camp. And then after I ended up winning the grants, I talked to the guy, the track operator, Paul Churchville at the time, about it, and he agreed to let me come, on a test run, and it worked. I was coached from '93 until '96, with '96 being I was the head coach then.
Wow.
Those are my Eric Simmons, Tim Fuzzy Hall for Mongoose, and also Brian Schmidt. We just had a great time up there, and it was the only BMX camp in the world at that time going on.
Oh yeah. So your wife is also wanting us to do a shout out to your mom for being your biggest fan and getting you to so many races when you were starting out.
Thanks, Mom. I love you. Thank you for everything. When we first started,
that's amazing.
She was the one in the family that believed me when I said I wanted to race BMX, because I'd come home every couple of months with some new harebrained idea that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
When I said I wanted to race BMX, everybody laughed, and my mom was like, "Hey, you know what? Come on, I'll take you to the track." And she drove me all over the country, wherever I needed to go. She'd work third shift, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., come home, take a shower, and and then drive me to either Waterford Oaks or Akron or Oklahoma, wherever the races were that we're going to.
That's amazing.
And I wouldn't be where I'm at right now, definitely without my mom. So
Yeah,
thanks.
shout
Mom.
out to Mom, especially with Mother's Day coming up pretty soon.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a commercial?
Yeah, so I can fix this
Yeah.
microphone that's falling apart.
And then maybe when we come back, we should get started on chit-chatting about this cruise.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, do it.
yeah, let's talk about that cruise. Paul, I'm going to choke you.
All right, we're going to hear from our sponsors at Truth. We'll be right back.
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Hey, now that I've got your attention, I want you to look at some cool stuff that Kebco BMX has to offer for you. Just check these out. Some rad t-shirts. If that's not your game, we've got plenty of hoodies to offer you. Make sure to get those hoodies. Want to keep your ears warm in these cold months? We've got hats, we've got beanies. Make sure you slide over and check us out at KebcoBMX.com and buy two because you're going to like them that much.
All right, and we are back. Microphone is fixed. Thank you guys for being so patient, hanging out here with Mighty Mo. Mo, let's talk about this cruise. Let's talk about this cruise.
Let's talk about vacation.
Let's talk about this cruise.
Yes.
All right, what do you know?
So, I hear it is just a BMX extravaganza, and you put it in such great words. I'm going to let you explain what this is.
Well, what this is this is going to be the ultimate BMX pit party away from the track. Nothing like this has ever been done anywhere in the world for BMXers until now, and I'm happy to be the one to, provide this awesome experience for all the riders out there, both current and former. The only way I can explain it is all the fun of being at the races, hanging out with your friends, talking garbage to each other and everything, without the stress of having to go up there and gate up against your buddy and go up there and race and come back. You win some, you lose some. Somebody's going to be happy. Somebody's going to be pissed that they didn't win. But on this one, everybody's just going to be just hanging out, like being at the races. And what's going to be cool about this is Friday night we're going to have the Tillmon BMX dodgeball tournament. So that'll give some of the BMXers have that competitive blood running through their veins, a chance to get out there and take out some aggression, with other riders across from them.
And who's our big, who's going to be the big guest this year?
Good question. The guest speaker this year is going to be none other than Dr. Smooth right here.
Ah, there he is.
Dr. Smooth.
I grew up really looking up to Craig. I mean, we were pretty close to the same age, but he was, a lot smoother than me and had the factory rides. And I, always strive to be, as smooth as him. I beat him in some of the competitions, but, even still, I still thought the world of him. And when I thought about putting this cruise together, he popped in my head as far as being the first one to be the guest speaker on this inaugural cruise, and he agreed to it. So, yeah, we're very much looking forward to it. He's going to have, Saturday night, he's going to have a guest speaking engagement where he goes up there and kind of talks about his story, kind of like how I'm doing right now in a way. Talk about what he thinks about the state of BMX right now and how it was in the past and what he is doing right now and what he's done in the past. And after that, there's going to be a short question answer for the crowd to ask Craig and get his response. So I'm thinking it's going to be a really, really nice night. Really
Kind
nice
of a
night.
keynote speaker sort of
with
situation.
Dr. Smooth.
Yeah. What cruise line is it with, Mo?
It's going to be on Royal Caribbean Navigator of the Seas. Last year we had a cruise also, and what that was, it was a surprise BMX reunion for my best friend that was going through some kind of health issues. So we got all of our friends from around the country to surprise him on the ship, and there was such an outpouring of support and loving the idea that I had done for my buddy that I figured, hey, this would be kind of cool to bring riders together, because a lot of guys race and then they don't race and they retire, but during their career they have friends from all over the country, and once they hang up the bicycle, I mean, I can speak from experience, there's riders that I haven't seen that I grew up hanging out with week in and week out at the Nationals, week in, week out at the Nationals, that I haven't seen in 10, 15, maybe 20 years. So this is the ultimate way to get everybody together for, a BMX family reunion without having to, fly to California or have them fly to Illinois or Texas or wherever we all live. And what better setting for a reunion than in the Caribbean?
I love it. I think that's a great idea.
Did you have a...
Oh, we're just talking. What are the dates of the cruise?
Excuse me?
What dates? When are we leaving?
Okay.
When do we board this ship?
It is Labor Day weekend. It sails out of Port of Miami Friday, September 4th. And then the next day is going to be Coco Cay, Royal Caribbean's private island. And then Sunday is going to be in Nassau, Bahamas. And then Monday, back to reality and back to work on Tuesday.
Oh, that's no good.
That sounds like so much fun.
Mm-mm.
So much fun.
So, for those of you guys watching at home, we're going to flip screens here. And what you're going to see is in the upper left, you have all the contact information that you need right here. And it also has all your prices for the cruise. So, if you want to run through the pricing on the cruise, Mo, let them know, what it costs for. I'm not a cruise guy.
Based on double occupancy.
You take that one for me, all right, man?
Well, okay. I don't know if the prices are up there, but the prices
They are.
They are. Yep.
Where the prices at?
They're right there in your hands.
Too many numbers here. Okay. Let's see, for an interior. I just hold it up.
I got it for you. For an interior, it's $380.
All right, cool.
And then for the a window, so is that starboard side?
No, you can be on both sides.
That's just regular.
This has a
standard
window.
I'm
You
not
can't go out.
I'm not gonna
ocean view balcony.
I'm not gonna use any nautical terms.
It's just a porthole
That's
that
what-
may or may not open.
There's so many jokes right there. I'm just
And
gonna
then
move along.
The third option is a balcony room that you can actually walk out on.
That is $569 for the balcony, which I didn't know
That's
this.
per person, though.
Right, but is that but I didn't. I had no idea it was that cheap. And
Well, it's not always, but that is a very good price.
Okay, for BMX and a cruise.
I'm
down.
That's an excellent price, especially for
Brandon, let's do this.
This weekend is perfect because with
we ain't racing probably.
Coronavirus, it pretty much shut down the BMX season. The season's basically a wash. I hate to say
We're
it.
going to stay positive here because we are the Positive Podcast Show.
We are
right.
positive.
That's the last statement.
So yes,
Well, it's not a wash. Maybe I misspoke. But the race that was going to be that weekend in Louisville,
it has
is
been
canceled
moved.
because of the Kentucky Derby being rescheduled
Yes.
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one.
So without anything really being going on that weekend, what better way to spend a Labor Day weekend with all your BMX buddies on a ship?
I feel the same way.
So, not and I have no intention of being the Debbie Downer, but the world being what it is right now, like, so hypothetically speaking, make a reservation and something doesn't happen because of the way of the world. What are we? I see like a non-refundable $200 deposit. That's about the only loss.
You know what? If the cruise gets canceled by Royal Caribbean because of any kind of viruses or any other situations, you get 100% refund.
Ah, okay, okay.
Cruise.
Well,
Gotcha. Well, or maybe even just a reschedule.
If you decide not to cancel it and take a future cruise credit for a later date, you get 125% credit.
Perfect.
Oh, wow.
That's excellent.
So it's kind of a can't lose. You're not going to be out of any money.
Right.
Should they do that?
I love that.
That's, yeah.
And it looks like the final payment is due June 1st. So you have to have reservations
Yes,
in by
ma'am.
then?
June 1st. So the
Okay.
clock is ticking, guys.
Yeah. Time to call and make those reservations, guys. And girls.
Yes.
Hold of my lovely wife, Anita.
Yeah. So she's your assistant on this deal, huh?
Yeah, my in-house. I'm fortunate that my wife is a top cruise travel agent.
Ah. Good to know.
Yeah.
So how
Not
many
just for this cruise. Anybody out there?
how many cruises have you and your wife been on then thus far?
Wow, we've been on probably over 120.
What?
maybe.
That's amazing. Well,
We
they
have over 1,300 nights sailing with Royal Caribbean right now.
might get a
So-
good deal. Here or there, being that she's a travel agent too.
Holy
she knows the
moly.
good deals when she sees them.
That's
That's a lot of cruising. I'm telling you,
So it
Justin,
went from racing cruiser to being a cruiser.
nothing wrong with that.
I love that. That is
It all worked
100%. So if you ride your cruiser, then maybe we can take my cruise then.
Well, you can go next year on Mighty
There you go,
Lowe's
yeah.
BMX
I
Cruise.
know. I want to know what have you picked out dates for next year yet? This year is a little bit sticky for me personally, but next
Yeah,
year.
that's what I heard. It's gonna be in September. We're narrowing down
Okay.
a couple of dates, but it's not gonna be a weekend. There's gonna be any nationals conflicting because there's riders, that I talked to before all the stuff went down and then Louisville got canceled that had wanted to come on this cruise, but they said they weren't going to be able to because they were committed
Oh,
to
sure.
going to Louisville. So if we have it a week or two after Louisville, but before the next national, you have like a week buffer of nothing going on that's going to interfere with you, coming and being a part of this.
I like
Because this is
that.
an annual thing. We're going to get bigger and bigger every year, and
So,
we have stuff already
me a
planned
year.
for next year. It's already in the works.
Gives me a year to work on you.
As long as I can see the
You know you won't be
shoreline,
able to.
like that's it. That's
That's-
my only requirement.
I will give you a picture of the shoreline. That's
Well,
about as good
the
as you're
thing
gonna
is, Justin,
get.
this ship is so large. You could, listen to some of the alumni last year's people that went on a cruise. They're out there watching. You can't even really tell that you're on a ship when you're
That's what I
sidewalking
told
around.
them.
You feel
I'm sure
plane or
that's
anything.
I'm sure that's what they told the people on the Titanic too.
I believe that
First of
cruise
all,
ships have come a long way since
too
the
old.
Titanic, and that is not a fair
I
comparison.
am too fat to swim that
Yeah.
far.
You don't have to swim; they have lifeboats.
That is not reassuring.
When you get on the cruise ship,
Titanic did too.
not
what?
enough though. There's no icebergs where we would be going.
Oh, now that's a game changer.
100%.
It's gonna be warm.
There you go.
It's gonna be warm. It's gonna
Are
be
there-
sunshine, margaritas.
I'm gonna need to know the inventory of the Jack Daniels on that ship.
It's like all the food you
Oh,
can
plenty.
stuff in your face. And
Somebody told
dodgeball,
me,
apparently.
Somebody told me plenty one time at Motor City Casino that night, and I ended up having to go across the street. They drank them
Yeah.
out.
Oh, that's a good question, Mo. That cabin price, is that all inclusive as far as drinks go? I mean, I know food's probably included, but
No, it includes all your food and all like water, lemonade, and juices. But if you want the alcohol, they have unlimited alcohol drink packages. that you can
packages. Yeah,
purchase, which-
that's
Good
cruises
deal.
I've been on before.
Did you just say unlimited?
Well, you have to pay. You
Yes,
pay one
yes.
like set price, and then it's unlimited for the length of the cruise.
But you'd have to tip out
Hey, Justin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you mentioned the Titanic.
He
Here's the
did.
Titanic compared to other ships now.
Oh yeah. See, it's a floating blessed city. Look at that. What
it's-
an amazing
it's
comparison.
A little different.
It's what, 4 times bigger, 5 times, probably
Well,
longer.
When we were him and I were talking before, he said how many rooms there were, or how many people could be on it.
6,000 people.
Yeah, well, here's what's pathetic. That's twice the size of the hometown I grew up in.
I know. I understand. Well, the ship, the ship itself is probably longer than your square mile.
Well, it is one. It's a mile east to west. There's a good chance.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I'm sure that
I'm working on it, Mo.
boat.
Working
Well,
on it.
All right.
I think I might go
You
all.
got a year to get them.
Yep, I do.
Well, I'm getting prodded by Luna, and Luna says as long as the cruise is not on a national weekend, he's in next year, and I'll double down. If Luna's in, we're in.
Oh man, it's gonna be good. Chris, I want to say, man, you will not regret it. And like I said, the reason why I had it this year, Labor Day weekend, was because everybody was gonna be off on a Monday. So technically, they'd only have to take one weekend. They'd have to take one day off of work. That was the whole, idea behind it.
No, that's
but moving forward, we want to go more than a 3-nighter, which is gonna entail, of course, more days, and we're gonna have that on a week or weekend where there's not going to be any national. So maybe you can come, Chris, and then, Gmo and, Shannon, whoever wants to come from USA BMX. Come on out and,
maybe we could get all of them that, seem to just not like USA BMX for whatever reason, and we'll just bring them on the trust boat of love.
Oh my
that's
God.
called the Mighty Mo's BMX cruise, and we finally can just come in and hug each other like a warm, awkward sweater and be like, look, guys, they're not coming back. We're all happy the way it is. Let's just hug it out and play some dodgeball. And you know what? After dodgeball's done, I hope you opt for the unlimited booze. And what other things can they do on the boat?
Luna said,
Right.
Luna said it was Chris Allen that sold him on the cruise.
Oh,
put him over the
Chris,
top.
because isn't Chris going this year? Chris
Allen?
He is not. Chris Allen?
Yeah, Chris Allen.
Chris Allen said he and Casey were talking about coming. I'm not sure if they made a final decision or not. They're out there. Chris, Casey, please come on the cruise.
We'll put the pressure on.
So you mentioned dodgeball, and we know you're having your BMX keynote speaker presentation. What other things?
Yes.
Your wife kind of brought up a good point. What other things are we going to be able to do on the ship? What else do we have going on? I mean, we know you can eat and drink. I'm assuming there's pools and.
Well, the ship is kind of like a city within a city on the ship. You have the ice skating rink, you have the water slides, you have the surfing simulator in the back, you have golf in the front. Of course, you have a gym and workout room and a main theater for the shows. Like I said, you're gonna forget you're on a ship. So Justin, you'll be in good shape.
Yeah, that's awesome. This one doesn't go into international waters though, correct? So probably no gambling.
Yes, you can. Yes. They have a killer casino.
Oh, okay. Well,
what's
maybe
good
we
about
should
that
reconsider.
is whatever money you win in international waters,
Not taxable.
Right. Well, that's where I was kind of getting at. It's not my first rodeo.
Not taxable.
Awesome.
But no, it's going to be really good. The alumni is what I call the guys that went last year. 80% of them, are going this year, and a lot of them booked, the final day and, a couple days or weeks after this year's, cruise was announced. And a lot of those guys are just like you, Justin. They said that they would never go on a cruise if it wasn't for me and if it wasn't for our friend that we're putting this reunion together, for. But once they got a taste of it, they realized that it's a lot more fun than they thought it was going to be, and they're hooked.
Yeah, wow.
That's awesome. So, did we have any questions? I'm still trying to figure out how.
So Brian's asking about a poker tournament?
Ooh, I ain't playing with him.
No. I'm not sure anybody would choose to play with him.
You know what they do? They do have tournaments like that. I'm not sure with the short 3-night cruises how much they get into the actual tournaments like that. You kind of kind of pressed for time as far as the nights on the cruise.
Maybe next year on the longer one.
I think Brian's is he coming up?
Brian would probably sponsor that.
It looks like he has the Mighty Mo's poker tournament.
Yeah.
Right. So
T-Bone BMX.
Instead of dodgeball
tournament
like this year. You're not entering a poker tournament.
Think of a better,
not entering a poker tournament with a guy that
he's sponsoring it. It doesn't say he's going to be in it.
I'll get in it if he plays for me.
Oh, there you go.
Here's how Justin plays poker. He gets a good hand and he goes,
tag in.
Just gotta do that.
I'm all in. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's just
No
a bad
poker
site.
face,
It's bad. Yeah.
The dodgeball tournament's going to be good because it's going to have either 8 or 12 teams depending on how many sign up, and it's going to be a bracket system with the winner takes all, and it's going to be a $100 purse for the winning team.
That's not too bad.
Of course, split up 5 ways, so $20 per team member.
I mean, we get enough people from Kebco. We could have our own team there.
What's good? What's good about that is the dodgeball tournament's going to be the first night, so the winning team has all weekend to talk crap to everybody else.
Oh no!
Is there a way
See,
we
now
can-
that's a smart play.
there a way you could get like some WWE belts or something for them to wear around? Not even the really nice one. I'm talking
we're
like
gonna have some cool stuff,
like
planned.
a cheap
Don't wanna
plastic
reveal
one.
all the secrets right now.
Right.
Stay tuned. Watch the recap after the cruise is over.
Yeah, well, you guys make sure you take lots of pictures so we
Yeah,
can use it
absolutely.
for advertisement. And
Oh, we will. And actually, I plan on having a table booth set up at the USBA grants this year in Tulsa.
Well, if as we've been reassured everything is going to go well, you'll be seeing us because we're going to be probably by T-Bone, and we'll be raising all kinds of fun. And we got a slingshot cannon for T-shirts, and on the next show we're going to unveil the T-shirt cannon that has been in the works from our friends down in the Ohio area. I'm not sure, but Brian, you might have to buy more than steak dinners to let me sneak this bad bazooka in there, okay?
Yeah,
The thing can literally throw a T-shirt across probably a track.
yeah, that's probably not coming on the cruise
Well,
ship.
Greg Hess from the Toledo BMX Contingency does not mess around when he makes T-shirt cannons. Yeah, we're gonna have a good time out there, and we've said it many, many times. We're really looking forward to getting out there to the Grands because it'll be the first time for me, and sounds like we're gonna have a lot of friends hanging out there. And yeah, I saw you down there when we were racing at Steel Wheels. I had to walk by, and I'd stare at your little slideshow, and I'm like,
Little table, right?
yeah, I'm like, what is he? It's like a cruise,
What
like
is that?
such a neat idea. Never did I think, what is this? 4 months, 5 months? Not like 4 months later we'd be talking. But definitely a cool thing you got going on there.
Well, thank you guys watching. Come on out, Labor Day weekend, September 4th through 7th. Be a part of history, man. And like I said, nothing like this has ever been done before. You'll be in for a treat. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. And I'm 90% sure that you'll rebook, future cruises based on the good time you have this year.
Plus, who doesn't love a little Miami?
I was sold when Will Smith sang about it, but that kind of dates me.
Yes, it does.
God, I'm so old.
100%.
Hey, we're gonna take a commercial break. We're gonna come back, get your questions in. We got trivia coming up, and we got a special guest that would like to talk to Mo when we come back.
Yeah.
Heavy Pedals BMX Zine. Voted #1 BMX zine in the world by Michigan BMX Podcast Show viewers and listeners. Get your copy now. Heavy Pedals is sold locally at Solon Bicycles, Ray's MTB, Reggie's Bike Shop, and globally at heavypedals.com. Make sure you get over to our Facebook page, give us a like and a share, and while you're at it, head on over to our Instagram page at Heavy Pedals BMX.
We're back, and hanging out with us right now we got Mighty Mo hanging out, and we've got a friend on the line who wanted to.
Yeah.
One of your friends, he's been in the chat room. He said, "Hey man, I want to get in there. I want to say a couple things to Mighty Mo," and I think he's claiming. Was he claiming he was his biggest local rivalry? Was that him?
Oh, maybe.
Mr.
Yeah.
Mr. Nick. My nickname is by whatever company that sponsors me. Desante.
Oh no, that was Nick.
Going on?
His biggest rival.
Hey Nick, what's happening, man?
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. The question was ask him who his biggest
Yes,
rival was.
My bad.
Justin read my note backwards.
I did.
There was no way we were a rival. He killed me every time in open class. He was fast. He was expert at the time. I was still intermediate. But I only raced those guys in open to make myself faster because they made me push. So.
Awesome.
But,
so you raced him.
Thanks, Nick.
You know Nick for a while. You said, "Hey man,
forever.
Let me jump in. I said, "Hey, let's call. I'll call you, man." What were some of the things you remember that stood out for when you were racing him back in the day there in Illinois?
You talking to me or talking to him?
I'm sorry, Nick. I was talking to you. I thought you were here in the studio for some minute. I'm sorry, Nick.
All right, so repeat the question because I wasn't paying attention.
It doesn't surprise me. Were you watching the Raiders again?
When?
Just now. Is that why you didn't?
No.
Oh, okay. Inside joke.
I just got home from work and I'm doing stuff around the house.
You were not watching football then, correct?
No, football's not on right now unless I watch some old stuff, which I already know won and lost. So it's not fun.
All right. So the question was, some of the moments you remember with Mo, racing. Some of the good things you remember him, and even not if it wasn't racing, but some of the things you saw him accomplish, that really sticks out with you.
Well, I never beat him or anything, if that's what you mean.
No.
But no, Mo was a beast. I don't remember Mo ever losing a race. I could be wrong, but mostly local at Rockford. That's where we raced at Rockford BMX. I don't remember being at Elgin track. He might have been, but that's all I remember. All my video that I got's off from Rockford. And I just know he had a rival with one of my teammates on Sundance, and they used to go at it. And I got him on video even saying stuff, too. But those were good, fun races watching him in expert class, and he was just dominating. I mean, he was fast. And just to be able to race him in open, him and some of the other expert fast guys, it was fun because, I mean, it just to be out there and watching him just pull everybody, it was just like amazing speed. It was just like, man, where does he get this from? It's like, how does he go that fast on this damn bike? It's like, and I would just push myself harder and harder, hoping to God I didn't crash either, because he would jump stuff. So I'm like, well, if I'm going to hang with this guy, I got to jump too. And you'd be jumping these doubles and triples and whatever, and he was just a beast. I mean, there was no way I was catching him. I mean, I just wasn't at that level yet. But he definitely was an awesome rider. And I didn't go to too many nationals back then, so just hearing, back then we didn't have social media, so the only time you really heard about stuff was either stuff in the magazines from American BMXer, which is now Pull Magazine, or if you other BMX magazines, or word of mouth if you talked to him at the track and he would tell you what went down at certain nationals he went to. But he was just, locally, I honestly do not remember him losing a race at all.
Wow.
That's how that's how I remember it.
Thanks a lot, Nick.
I don't remember Nick losing a race either till the crash you had at the Grands that I saw. But I never ever saw a video before that you had lost either, Nick. Hey, you want me to send you over the link for later on, Nick?
Link for
the after chat.
Oh yeah.
All right, man. Well, I'll send it over. I appreciate you coming in, talking with Mo. No. What's the chance you're gonna get on that cruise with us, man?
Nick, get up, man.
I just don't have the funds this year.
What about? I can't go this year.
Times.
I can't go either this year. What about next year?
I told Mo. I know we talked for a while, and I was planning on it, but I just can't come up with the funds because now with all this, the flights are cheap now and everything, but it's just everything else going on with the virus thing and all that crap. It's just
get it.
Yeah, it just messed everything up for me. I definitely want to do this one time, so it's definitely on the list.
Yeah.
It's just
let's do it
when
next
I can
year.
get the money and time, and I definitely want to go. I'm definitely going to one of those cruises. There ain't no doubt in my mind. So it will happen.
Hey, would you if you go next year? So we got like a whole year plus to go. Can we get you on our dodgeball team?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, that's enough. That's all we need.
Yeah.
Here in Michigan, here's the deal, Nick. Here in Michigan, pop cans and beer cans are like 10 cents, and we ain't been able to take them back in a long time because of COVID. So I'm pretty sure when we finally can, that I'll put a pretty big chunk in your cruise ticket for next year. All right?
All right.
I'm just saying, it's like everybody else stuck in Michigan right now.
My cruise fund.
Yours is good. It's good. Hey, listen, buddy, it's good talking to you. Appreciate you letting us get a hold of you and calling in, telling us some stories with Mo. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
Thanks for the love, Nick. Thank you, sir.
Mo.
Yep. All right, that was Skyway Nick. Hanging out with us, telling us some stories. We had a couple more races here. We were going to show. We had we're going to jump over here, and we got the. Let's look at this. Which one is it? The bottom one. It was the Gold Cup one you had.
So
Oh, go ahead. Nick.
Well, I was just going to say, since Nick is so diligently listening,
He does.
can we get Mo to answer what his actual question was, who actually is his biggest local rival that he recalls?
Well, after that testimony, it probably should be Skyway Nick.
Well, yeah,
Well,
okay,
we
there
have
you go,
another
Skyway Nick.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, my biggest rivalries on Sundance were Frank Nuccio and
Ooh.
father of Olympic hopeful Felicia Stansel, Jamie Stansel. Because when I was coming up, Jamie and Frank both pretty much ran things in Illinois BMX. And when I started catching them and then started beating them, they didn't really take too kindly to it. So I think some of the speed that I acquired was just from trying to stay away from their elbows. So more times than not, it worked out, but I got put over Rockford first turn before by Jamie. I wish I would have sent you the video because it's pretty funny, actually. So those are the two, Frank Nuccio and Jamie Stansel.
Nice. So if you and Nick and Frank Nuccio and Mr. Stansel got on a gate right now, who's taking that moto?
Probably Nick, because me, Jamie, and Frank are going to take each other out.
I love it.
Nick said Jamie was the one he was thinking of.
Was he? Mm-hmm. Oh, very nice. Nice.
So yeah, it'd be awesome to have all you guys out there in a dodgeball tournament. And actually,
I'll referee.
I'll give props to Phil Boudreau because he's the one that actually gave me that idea, and I took it and looked into it some more and got the basketball court reserved for a private 10:30 to midnight session. And shout out to you, Phil. Thanks, buddy.
Wow.
Very nice.
10:30 to midnight. Ooh.
What did we have for trivia tonight?
All right. Let me clear my chat here. All right, so we have another T-Bone sponsorship package put together here. 2 of them, actually, with some shirts and caps. I don't even know if that's seeable right there.
Wilson,
Stickers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the first question is, when did Mighty Mo start his BMX career? What year? I'm looking for a very specific year. When did he start his BMX career? First person I see in the chat with the correct answer, it's coming your way. You can't win. And you're wrong anyways.
Dang. Well, I tried to go off memory. It's pretty bad.
You didn't look at my note?
Nah, I didn't want to look at your note. Oh,
Chris. Chris, is it Lundgren?
Yeah.
Lundgren. So, Chris?
That's somebody you know?
No.
He guessed 1984.
Yeah. He did, yeah. Wasn't he the one that brought the question earlier about Super Camp? He of his best experience at the Super Camp? Yeah, he was, yeah.
Camp ABA.
Or Camp ABA, sorry. I keep saying Super Camp. I mean ABA. Yeah.
Austin, we see your comment.
Yeah, Austin, you could pay for a cruise and then some. I'm so with you, Austin.
Well, Chris, we got a sponsorship package coming your way. If you could drop us either in an email or private message your address, we'll make sure that gets out to you. All right, second question. What year did Mighty Mo make his first main event?
Oh, I know this one.
Another year question. What
I know this one.
Year did Mighty Mo make his first main? You are so far off.
I'm just. I don't know, but
that's probably closer to his retirement than his first.
Probably. But see what it does. It leads. Where did Chris come up with this? Hold the dough. It's Mighty Mo. I love this tagline. I like it.
Yeah.
Hold the dough. It's Mighty Mo. I'm just gonna keep throwing in guesses here.
I haven't seen anything close yet. You guys are way too late in life.
Ooh, there was a
Bill, you're close.
There's a close one.
If you take 25 guesses, you'll get it right.
Before I even hear you ask, must be a delay. Oh, yeah. Depending on what you're listening on,
there is.
Well, could be.
Yeah. There could be. That's what the announcer said when he raced. the delay. Or wait, the Mighty Mo holds the dough. I like it.
That's what he said?
But I'm a big fan of Motown now. Like,
I don't see the answer yet.
we still got it going on, you guys. It's still up there. What was the year?
That he won his first main.
His first main.
We know he started in 84.
He did.
As long as my notes are correct.
Yeah.
Anyway. Not yet.
This is a good one.
Yeah. I
Come on,
stumped
guys,
him.
you gotta pay attention.
I stumped him.
You did.
Yeah,
We could double down.
you're making a mistake.
Wait.
Well, Chris, you won it the last time.
So
So I appreciate you guessing again and almost getting it close. Oh, Joe Stevens.
very good,
There you
Joe
go.
Stevens.
All right, same thing, Mr. Stevens. Instant message or
Please
email
do.
the podcast your home address, and we'll get this stuff out to you guys. Thank you so much for listening and playing along. We really appreciate it.
We appreciate
Hey, Joe.
Go ahead.
Joe, coming up, man, that weekend. I haven't seen you, gosh, since 85, 86.
Hey, and we appreciate T-Bone for helping us out and with a lot of the swag that we give away. For tonight's giveaways, I emptied out my sticker bag, and if you're a BMXer, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You have a sticker bag, you got a sticker box. It's just all the stickers you've collected. I dumped a whole bunch of stickers in there. We're going to ship them out from various places. And also some bracelets and keychains from our friends at House of Wheels. But again, thank you so much, Brian Wilson.
Demon Claw.
Yeah, the old school Demon Claw is in there too. Thank you, Brian, from T-Bone for helping us out this evening. And we do have a few more questions for you. So, favorite person that is not in the Hall of Fame that you think should be in the National Hall of Fame?
Ooh,
Wow.
Besides yourself.
heavy question.
All right, well, I'm out of possibilities then.
I can make a recommendation.
Second choice.
Melanie
Second choice.
Melanie Klein. Only 'cause-
Melody's not in there?
not yet.
Yet.
No, not yet.
What are they thinking? She's
Oh.
she's one of the best ever gate up.
We're campaigning for her.
She definitely should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, we're gonna here at the Michigan BMX Podcast Show. We are gonna lead the campaign to get her in.
She has my vote. I mean, because she's from the Midwest also, so got to give the Midwest some love in the Hall of Fame.
Very nice. And did we get his favorite? We got his favorite pro pass now. Very nice. Very good. Okay. Now we're gonna hit the chat room up and for some more questions real quick. And with that, we want to know if you were still racing right now and you couldn't have raced a Supercross, what would you be on right now? All bikes still being made across the timeline. What would it be?
Wow. Probably a standard. Rick Moliterno has been in the game for so long and puts out such a good product that I would run one of their bikes, today.
Good choice.
Yeah, there. I think you still ride the one I sold you, right? Yeah. So Jason, the guy that runs the video for us, I bought one secondhand, probably 13 years ago. Sold it to Austin, who's like $1,000 in empty beer cans already because of quarantine. He bought it from me, sold it to Jason, and Jason still rips on it now. And the funny thing is, like, the geometry is no different, and it's still just. They still just rock. They're just
Austin's
good bikes.
Yeah,
that
they're
standard shot.
Great bicycles, and Rick's a great guy also.
Yeah, and we're lucky here in Michigan. We got a guy here in Michigan, Kyle. He's a ripper for standard. Heck of a racer. He's a jumper for freestyle guy. Super good dude. Hey, Marty, thanks for jumping in the chat. By the way, Mo, you brought some big names in tonight to watch the show. Harry Leary was in earlier watching.
Wow.
Yeah. Chris, we were talking with Chris Luna. You've got Austin in here. We had, Joe and Phil joined us this evening. Chris, lots of people joining us this evening. Can't tell you guys how much we appreciate all of you joining us tonight and taking part in the chat. I know Harry kind of laid back and was just watching the show. He kind of he got ratted out by my friend over. He's the TO at the Lansing track. He ratted him out and he told me he was watching. So thanks for letting us know. But a lot of people joining tonight, wanting to hear your story, and we really appreciate you taking your time. Pat Welch, you're going to make that new GT bike you got go real fast this year, man. That thing's looking sweet. You're going to be going. I asked him about that bike. You know what he said? He's like, best money I spent from a stimulus check. went and got himself a new BMX race bike right there, man. And
questions to ask him about that bike.
Yeah, it's a good looking bike.
What's the Velo Solutions Chicago pump track?
Oh, have you been there yet, Mo?
I have not, no.
What do you know about it yet? That thing is... So we've got a Velo Solutions here, and it's, what are we, 25, 35 minutes from it?
Yeah.
We got one in Westland, but the one in Chicago.
How is it? Sweet?
It's, well, you're being told by Chris that you need to...
you have to clarify which Chris.
You're right. I'm sorry, I forget. Lundering that you got to get yourself a standard DJ, and we got to get down there in 5 weeks for that one.
5 weeks till build.
Who shared? It must have been Caruth or from BMX News, or somebody shared the picture of what they're going to make there, and
it's not there yet.
Yeah, I'll put it in perspective. Seeing the pictures reminded me of, remember when Louisville Skate Park opened, Mo?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that like changed the entire landscape for skate parks, right?
That's it's similar, huh?
Well, that's what this pump track's going to do. Like it is that. Like
I'm feeling
it's
a road trip.
Yeah.
So am I. I think I just talked myself
trip.
into one.
Tomorrow?
Who wants to go? It's not even built yet, but I'll go tomorrow.
All right, Chris, it's a date.
That's right.
Yeah, hey man, when that thing's built, buddy, we're gonna come meet you. We're gonna hang out, all right?
100%.
I got a cruiser. You can borrow my cruiser. I got a 22. I got a nice little hookup from DK, and
well, that's why they were suggesting he needed a new standard DJ so that he could go ride the Velo Solutions.
If they can't get you one in time, I'll bring some extra bikes out
We're
for
just
you.
Putting that out there in the universe.
I think it's going to be a good time. We'll just make a Mighty Mo BMX trip out to the Velo Solutions track when it opens.
It's going to be attached to an awesome jump
make the pilgrimage.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's and that's the other part is it's not just a.
It's going to be some great shopping time for me. I love it.
It'll be like
Chicago. I know my wife loves
yeah,
Chicago.
exactly.
Let's go.
There is no reason any guy
I'll
that's
drop your ass off. I'll see you later.
Exactly. Can't convince their wives to go to this because
Put
wife,
me in a decent
girlfriend,
hotel. Good to go.
they go shopping. We're gonna go and like who just chimed because it's right. It's a part of the.
Phil was saying it's attached to an awesome jump park. So I don't know if the jump park is there already or if that's just he knows that to be part of the plan.
And it's not far from the Red Bull skate park either.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
That gives me the whole day.
Whole weekend.
It's like BMX overload.
I know. That's great.
God, it's gonna be so good, Mo. Thanks for coming on.
Driving
Now I got a
after
whole
work
trip.
on a Friday and
It'll be like back when we
I'll see you
dated in
Sunday.
'92
that was a long time
or
ago.
02. Yeah, 2002.
I think filming would go a lot different.
It would, because it wouldn't be with the camera. We had to put a cassette or not even whatever into that thing.
I don't know if anybody else noticed, but my voice is on that video for a split second.
A split second when you're yelling at me for riding the seawall down there in Chicago. It was a good time.
Back in the day.
All right. Well, I got to say, I really appreciate you coming on the show tonight. And I got to know, is there anybody and, company, people, wife.
That beautiful wife of yours.
Thank you. That you'd like to thank.
And your mama.
And your mom for everything.
Of course, first and foremost, I'd like to thank my mom, for helping me get to where I am right now, not only in the sport, but in life, giving me a good work ethic and everything. And big shout out to Rich Reitmeyer. That's the really cool guy that took me under his wing and showed me the ropes and actually started my BMX career for me. I would definitely not be where I'm at right now without him. And of course, my lovely wife, Anita. She keeps me grounded and she books the cruises and plans everything. And I go.
I love this woman.
She's a big reason why this BMX cruise is possible because she knows the ins and the outs of the cruise industry, and we have friends that are crew members on the ship. So that enabled us to put something really together, and put out a good product for, essentially all the oters to come and be a part of it. So You know, it's a really good team. I know the BMX part of it, and she knows the cruising side. So we just all come together with the great mixture and something that everybody's going to have a blast doing. So those are my shout outs for this this session.
Well, I know it doesn't get done. You know, behind every strong guy is a stronger woman. This podcast wouldn't happen without this one here. So I know how much that means, and we appreciate that. And we look forward to getting on that cruise. I know it won't be this year, but we'll be there next year. And I'm really bummed. I was too intimidated to talk to you when we were down at Steel Wheels. And I'm bummed I didn't get to meet you then, because we would have done this a lot earlier, but I'm glad you did this time, and we did it now, and we had a great turnout this evening. I want to thank everybody that was in the chat this evening. Thank you guys so much.
And thanks, guys. And thank you guys for asking me to come on your show. It really made my night, made my day, my week, my month.
Oh, it's our pleasure to have you. We're glad you can do this.
Absolutely. And, if you guys want to make sure you do not miss any upcoming shows, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe. Make sure you hit the alerts so you guys get the alerts when we go live, when we have something scheduled, and you're liking our Facebook page. Anytime we do something on Facebook, you're going to be alerted. You're going to know that it's going on. Don't miss out. We're also on Periscope and Twitter, so you can stay up to date there. And of course, we're over on Instagram also, and you can hear us in the audio format from Apple, Spotify, Buzzsprout, and all sorts of other podcast ways of listening.
Whatever way you can think of.
Every week I go in and it's like, well, you have enough people now. You're on this platform. I'm like, if I read all of them, we would be here until...
Just search us out.
Yeah, and don't forget, coming up Wednesday night for our Rippin In The Mitten show, we are going to have Marmar's roundtable of the girl racers here in the state of Michigan. It's going to be a do not miss show. We have some really, really fast girls here in the state,
and great to hear their perspective on things.
I'm really excited about this show because Marmar approached me. It was really cute. Charlie's like, Marmar, you have to take this on yourself. Marmar's like, hey, this is Charlie Salisbury.
Blossoming.
Him and his wife run some of the tracks on the west side of the state. She's like, okay, cool. She's been putting it together, putting a lot of work in. She's done I think 1 or 2 rehearsals. Yeah, I saw. Yeah, I got some pictures. So it'll be a really cool show. We're gonna get the Austin's daughters on. Alicia's on there.
Okay.
Shout out to Alicia. She just got accepted to school,
Alicia,
college.
Marmar.
Kaya Star. Marmar's older sister. I know I'm gonna forget 2. I am. I'm sorry, you guys.
We're gonna like 6 or 7 in the conversation. Well,
it's gonna be a really unique, different approach to what we're doing here.
Haven't done anything like that.
Nope. No. And well, you know what? We innovate.
That's right.
We don't, and
we're expanding.
We are, and speaking of innovating, next Friday, a first for BMX.
Yes.
We are going to go live with the Michigan BMX Podcast Show and
a dual show.
With Chris Allen.
And what's the name of his show?
Chris's Corner.
Chris's Corner. So it's going to be the Michigan BMX Podcast meets Chris's Corner.
I'm thinking more of back in the day. And you might be too young for this, but back in the day, Run DMC and Beastie Boys did a tour. It was the Together Forever tour.
I remember. I
saw them at the IMA. It was amazing. That little concert plays. Paul's like just in there trying to unmute right now, screaming at me. But the Together. It'll be the Together Forever show.
Okay.
Because Chris, like Mo, is my new best friend.
That's your pitch line. Together Forever.
The Together Forever tour.
Oh boy.
We're going to have to wear some Adidas shell top shoes.
Oh, my God.
With no laces.
We don't have any.
Do you have those, Mo?
Yeah.
Damn straight he does.
A bunch of Vans with no laces. But
damn straight.
He says no.
Well, Vans with no laces will count. You guys, again, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Mo, hang on out with us for a few minutes. We're going to check out of here. Do you have anything for us?
No, I don't. Great show tonight. Thanks, everybody, for participating.
All right, guys. See you in September. Riders ready. Watch the waves.
That's right.